samples. If you want free money, there's a place you can go just a block away. Well, they'll give you a bag full of free money. Mississippi, can't get that free money. Talk about it. For 11, CBC, Lieutenant Augustine's Catholic Church, established 1799. The original church logo was burned down by an angry anti-Catholic mob in 1844. The congregation sued the city of the river. It's 1.8 miles from end to end. And when the measures, you actually walk across the bridge. So the upper level there, open only to pedestrians and bicyclists. The upper level walkway is open until 8 o'clock this evening. Some fine views of the skyline. The organization of this area reached an agreement that never maintains that billboard, never have the advertising on this side. For years it was painted black. Stop the Quaker. We've had founded the colony of Pennsylvania in part so the pagans have a place to worship without fear of the persecution they experienced in the main part of England. In the colony of Pennsylvania, the freedom of religion was guaranteed. About 12,000 practicing Quakers in the city today have services at the meeting house every Wednesday and Sunday. On the right side, the Guardian Dragons, a sculpture by Ward Elliger, leading us to Chinatown. That will be our stop number 5, the corner of 10th and Arch Streets. Today, Philadelphia's Chinatown is best known. All took 30 years to finish. Construction in 1871, but not completed in 1901. Designed by John MacArthur, immigrated to Scotland. And the wedding earlier, we passed the old Reading Railroad Terminal. Might ring a bell for some people. Pennsylvania Railroad, Reading Railroad Monopoly, yep. Not a coincidence. Monopoly Horse, thank you, Luke, by the way. Thank you. The statue of William Penn, the colony of Pennsylvania's founder. That statue is just about 38 feet inside. As long as there's not a wedding or anything else happening, there'll be someone on duty who can tell about the architecture and the history. And we have our stop number 8 on the next block. Raise your hand when I hop off at our stop number 8. So you're going to stay with us. Like no one's hopping off of the upper deck. What?
Poland.
Oh. Ahead of us there's a fountain. In the center of that fountain there are 3 main bronze figures. Those represent 3 main waterways that run through Philadelphia. The Wissahickon Creek, the Schuylkill River, and the Delaware River. Where that fountain stands, it is a picturesque place. But in the early years of the 1800s, before that fountain was installed, that piece of land is where public hangings took place in Philadelphia. Stop 14, the Please Touch Museum, or stop 16, the west entrance to the Art Museum. Exit this vehicle at the next stop and hop aboard the connecting trolley shuttle that meets us there. It's very thin, it'll chip off over time, even on the bronze just beneath it.
Bronze with gilded gold.
So for a short time in the early 1980s, on top of the Art Museum's east stairs, there was the statue of Sylvester Stallone as Rocky. Hosts the Independence Day festivities happening every July 4th before the fireworks get shot off at the Art Museum grounds. One of the biggest Independence Day celebrations we had happened in 2005 with a free concert full of fireworks headlined by a knight of the British Empire, Sir Elton John. Now the irony of a knight of the British Ahead of us, again, see the City Hall Tower and the clock in the City Hall. It's 26 feet in diameter, making it 2 feet wider than the clock of Big Ben, in one of industry, government, and community. City Hall. Now on the south side of City Hall. In a moment, we turn on to South Broad Street. South Broad Street, often called the Avenue of the Arts. Many performing arts venues are going to pass on the next few minutes. Comedy classic, building with the offices of the despicable Randolph and Mortimer Duke. On the right side, the curved staircase in the entrance, is the Philadelphia Union League. The Union League on your right was established in 1862 as a Republican Party social club, raising money for Abraham Lincoln's re-election campaign and trying to stem the tide of Confederate sympathy among wealthy businesses in the city. In that location, 1865, existing as an elite and conservative social club today. So no one up here for stop 19. We also have our stop 20 coming up. Theodore Roosevelt, guitarist and singer Frank Zappa, Frank Sinatra, Frank Morgan, Son of the Wizard of Oz, good friends of Assisi, the Family Eagle, the French drum. Frank, so we call it Frank Sherlock. Frank Purdue, Frank Burns, Frank Boyd, Frank Cole, Frank, really big ball player. Frank called the Foodery. Definitely sell food, but it's much better known what you'll see on display in the windows. The Foodery, in the left corner, has over 500 varieties of beer. Now, the old main building beneath the round balustrade, the skylight. The hospital skylight building is where the surgery table used to be. Back in the early 1800s, you had no electricity inside buildings, but you need lots of light. If you're opening someone up, maybe taking parts out of them. Also back then, new anesthetic. Before surgery, you get a few options. The doctor can cut you until you blood enough to pass out, hit you back in the head with a mallet until you passed out, give you opium, smoke that until you passed out, or the most popular option, the doctor would give you whiskey. You would drink till you passed out. If you woke up in the middle of surgery, the doctor would then Society Hill. Next cross street here is 6th Street. Down 6th Street to the right, you see a brick and stone church. It's Mother Bethel, founded in the late 1700s. Mother Bethel, on your right side, the founding congregation of the African Methodist Episcopal denomination. Founded by Richard Allen of Blackman. The scarred stained glass windows is the Villanova Orthodox congregation. The synagogue moved there to the Vernon Row home in 1950. To the right side would be white columns. That's the oldest surviving Presbyterian church in Philadelphia. The old Pine Street Church, founded in 1768. Very old grave adjoining the churchyard. Some of the graves have 13-star American flags in front of them. Wow. The graves of veterans of the Revolutionary War. Wow. Right above us here, we've got the St. Peter's Episcopal Church, founded in 1761. The tallest steeple added in the 1830s. Continuing down towards our stop number 22, South Street. South Street runs parallel from Pine Street, 2 blocks to the right. South Street is a collection. We then be in South Philly. South Street had a hit song written about it. Big hit for the Philadelphia group, the Orleans, back in the 1960s. The song asked the question, where do all the hippies meet? South Street, South Street. On the street just ahead of us, for many years, the center of youth culture in Philadelphia. Please raise your hand if you hopping off at our stop 22 for South Street. It's like nobody from up top. Semi-permanently across the Delaware River in Camden, New Jersey. Battleship's open for tours. This is sort of floating museum. It's open today until 5 o'clock. You get a better view of the battleship. You look to the right side, then you turn left onto Front Street. The corner on your left, the former Downey's Irish Pub, featured in the 2011 season of the series Bar Rescue. It was rescued, but eventually got lost again. They closed earlier this year. Their collection of 1-star Yelp reviews is still accessible online. Battleship New Jersey across the Delaware River. On this side of the river is a large sailing ship. It's the Mooshaloo. The Mooshaloo, originally a German vessel, it was called the Kurt. But in 1970, First World War, so the U.S. was then at war with Germany. The ship was confiscated. Renamed 1987, on your right side. Raise your hand. We're going to hop off here, stop 23. Looks like nobody from up top. You get a better view of the memorial itself once we turn. And once we turn, we're actually on top of the I-95 highway. This is a steel-framed overpass. These old-style Belgian block paving stones, they're just here for effect, not in any way original. Ahead of us to the right, the 2 smokestacks of USS Olympia. The Olympia, a battle cruiser built in the first half of the 1890s, fought in the Spanish-American War. Flagship in the 1898 Battle of Manila Bay. Only ship from that fleet still afloat. Ship's open for tours today from 10 till 5. Dock next to the Olympia, also open for tours, the USS Bakuna, World War II submarine. Then down the river to your right, you're going to see a condominium building shaped like a cruise ship. Joseph Campbell, founded the Campbell's Soup Company. Campbell Soup, world headquarters, still located across Delaware River in Camden.
Probably,
to our left is the three boxy residential high-rises. Those are the Society Hill Towers, built in the 1960s, designed by I.M. Pei. I.M. Pei also designed the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio, the glass pyramid addition to the Louvre in Paris.
This is the Liberty Bell. Track. Independence Hall after that. So we're in Independence Hall. This is the Independence Building.
Over 40 years before the Declaration of Independence. They broke ground the same year George Washington was born. And by and large, it is still the same building that they would have known. 90% or more of the exterior is still original from that time. Once you go on the interior, about 60 to 70% of the interior, from support beams to decorative woodwork, is still original from that time period. So that is why we do ask. I do not know how much Josh out there was able to get across, but please do remember, part of the mission of the National Park Service, sorry, I work for it, in addition to making the building. The U.S. courtroom, ever seen pictures of it on TV, what have you, you should recognize a lot of this stuff if you think about it for a minute, where everyone would have sat, what was used for what. When we finally decided to declare our independence from Great Britain, after about that long year, one of the biggest things we were fighting to hold on to was what you see in front of you, the legal system. We liked it a lot. We liked everything like where you guys are. You are the public, are you not? And many other symbols of royal authority were tossed on a big bonfire down about where City Hall is today. This was our big way of publicly showing we have finally come to the conclusion we are no longer subjects or citizens of a new nation. Sovereign colonies enter this room. When all said and done, one fragile but united state would depart. In June, Washington rides out of here. He's going to be gone for over 8 years commanding the troops. The very next month, remember, because we're still thinking we're British subjects, we write a note to King George III. It's called the Olive Branch Petition. In the most humble and subservient terms, we beg, we plead with the king to intervene on our behalf. This is really the last best hope of the more conservative element in this room, and really the king himself, to maintain his North American empire. What does he do? Well, basically he ignores us. He declares us in open rebellion before we're willing to admit it to ourselves. He begins to hire those infamous German mercenaries, the Hessians we read about in history books, to help prosecute his war here in America. He dispatches his largest and best weapon, the Royal Navy, to sweep the seas clean. And still these men hold out. What takes them so long? Well, let's see if for a moment we can put ourselves in their shoes. There's a catchphrase from the Revolution. I'm sure a large percentage of you know it. Let me see. No taxation without
Representation.
We all know that phrase. Let's see if we can compare ourselves here in the colonies to those people living in England who have representatives in Parliament. Compared to them, we here in the colonies paid almost nothing in taxes. And we have probably one of the highest standards of living in what we would think of as the British Empire. Now, are our rights being abused? Yes, I told you that. We're being mistreated. But let's compare ourselves to most of the rest of the world. Compared to them, we have an incredible amount of personal freedom and liberty. So, think about it for a moment. Risk everything you have, everything you own, get off it immediately. He's not the only one in here. Congress is going to want to have their say. They make a lot of changes. Jefferson hates them all. He later wrote that they mangled his document, but they approve it on the 4th of July. They immediately move to have it printed, including creating one of those broadsides I mentioned, which is next door in the West Wing. It appears in the newspapers. In fact, it'll appear in print in every one of the 13 colonies before they put pen to paper and signed that famous version down in DC. That's in early August. Now we can vote on a declaration, we can vote on independence, we can sign our declaration. The Declaration of Independence is a good starting point. Did it make us independent? No. That's what the Army is supposed to do. The British didn't go, oh, you have a declaration now. Nuts. We have to. Well, here's why. At the end of the Revolutionary War, he was handed an incredible possibility. Serious men here in Congress and the Army said, let us do what we know. Let us do what we are used to. Let us make George Washington some type of king. A chance to become ultimate ruler of a country. What would you do? Some of the looks I'm getting about was flawed. Benjamin Franklin left us with a little bit of wisdom, I would say, as these men were departing. It said that the wife of the mayor of Philadelphia came right up to him, Dr. Franklin, what kind of government have you gotten for us? The reply, a republic, if you can keep it. These men did not do everything. They were not demigods. They made mistakes. Our original Constitution that was ratified by the people did not contain words like freedom of speech, freedom of the press, right to bear arms, right against cruel and unusual punishment, search and seizure. What am I referring to?
Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights. A lot of the people, when they saw it, were horrified that it didn't have anything like that. States ratified it, but they sent a long list of new amendments. Change this, alter this, add this, add this, add this. Hundreds poured in. 12 were proposed, 10 were adopted. Is that the end? No, we've continued to alter the founders' work. I talked about a deal with the devil, protections from slavery within our Constitution. That would take us 4 years of bloody civil war, 700,000 American lives lost in a war, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to our Constitution. Now, did we give everyone the right to vote? Well,
We ain't king over there.
The building was not built to be a Capitol building. It was built to be the Philadelphia County Courthouse. It would have looked substantially different on the inside in its original form. The outside would look exactly the same. However, when the government voted to leave New York City and move to Philadelphia temporarily while they built a new capital city, they had to have some place to meet. The Congress was going to meet in this building, and the President was going to rent a mansion up on the corner of 6th and Market Street, and the Supreme Court would meet in the courtroom of Old City Hall. So the interior of the building was redone at the expense of Pennsylvania to make it suitable for the House and the Senate to meet in, and this is the way it would have looked, sort of, in 1790 when they moved in. Now I say sort of because the original building was a bit smaller than it is today. The original South Wall, for example, we're going to get 10 new amendments added to our Constitution when the states ratified the Bill of Rights in December of 1791. Congress had already passed the Bill of Rights sort of on their end of things in New York in 1789, and now they sent it out to the states, and it took a couple of years for the ratification to take place, but it finally happens. And so they even had a little party here to celebrate the addition of these new amendments to the Constitution. In addition to that, we're going to have the United States Mint created by an act of Congress in 1792. The Mint has been in Philadelphia ever since. It's in a much, much larger building up on the corner of 5th and Arch Street. In fact, that is the world's largest functioning mint. It is interesting that it didn't go to Washington. Anyone want to take a wild guess why the Mint started for a 6-year term? And in addition to that, the Senate has special powers under our Constitution that the House does not have, and that has never changed. The Senate is in charge of sort of supervising much of the executive branch. For example, every member of the President's cabinet, every U.S. ambassador, every federal judge is nominated by the President, but cannot take office unless the Senate approves. The House has no say. So it's possible, we think, that the Senate thought of itself as the House of Lords for the United States, and they furnished accordingly. Another thing that one notes when you come up here is that downstairs you can sit down. That's because those pieces of furniture are replicas of the originals. Up here, the Vice President's chair, the Secretary's desk and chair, and 26 out of 32 chairs
for the senators are original to this building. That's quite amazing if you think about it. They've been reupholstered, but they are original. The molding on the ceiling is original. The eagle above the dais is original as well, even though that does come from a later period. It's from 1817 when this was a courtroom and the Senate was long gone. Technically, we should take it down. It's an anachronism, but it's just so beautiful and so cool, we can't bring ourselves to do it. So we want to thank them being allies with France. France is an ancient major power, and to have France recognize the United States as a legitimate nation was a big deal. So
it's Sunday, October the 9th, Sunday, October the 9th, and Deborah L. Smith, who is featured prominently here, and I are walking on the Ben Franklin Bridge in a lame duck impersonation of getting ready for the Sydney Harbour Bridge next year. As the cars sound like that as you're going up the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Benjamin Franklin Bridge, looking over the, it's a picture of Deb taking a picture. Here we go. There goes Deb. Whoops. This is the foundation of the original presidential house in Philadelphia where George Washington and John Adams lived. We're on our ghost tour here. Ghosts, sex and something or other else. What was
Vampires.
Vampires. Well, we can't see anything. But
Sex. Don't forget the sex.
And the sex. Yes. And right ahead, that is Independence Hall. Yes.
So we were like, yeah, just get divorced, remarry, whatever. Like, that kind of got us a reputation for our liberal practices. Now, the average age of a prostitute here in Philadelphia during the colonial and early republic eras was about 18 to 21, which, relatively speaking, is not horrible. I mean, it's not good. I'm not saying, 18, go out and be a prostitute. That's not what I'll give you plenty of time after I'm done talking to take some more photos and stuff. If you don't get the right angle that you want, feel free, don't worry, I'm going to give you time afterwards to take some different photos. I can also take photos of you in front of it if that's what you guys want, so we'll do that.
This is the tomb of the unknown soldier here in Philadelphia. And these are the flags of the original colonies. New Hampshire's next to the gold one, which is Virginia, and then there's New York. I've forgotten that one, and the last one with the anchor is Rhode Island. Liberty, the one with Liberty is Georgia. Got the original Betsy Ross flag. And here we are. This was the Delaware River. And over there is Pennsylvania, Camden, Pennsylvania, I believe. And here is our, what'd they say? Oh, Camden, New Jersey. There's our hotel, which has definitely seen better days. Turn around, Deborah L. Smith. There she is.
Decided no street-level stained glass windows, thinking that would keep the church better protected. So none were installed. The one window that's there now at street level was added in the 1950s when the church was renovated. You can see the window grooves were there, but they were just filled in with brown stone. No stained glass placed there. This is our stop number 8 for the cathedral. It's also a shortcut to the Franklin Institute, which is on the other side of this fountain here to our left. Anyone hopping off here today? The son of the man who made the William Penn statue on top of City Hall. The 3 figures in the fountain represent the 3 bodies of water that surround the city. The Wissahickon Creek, the Delaware River to our east, and the Schuylkill River to our west. On the right now, we see the Free Library in Philadelphia. This is the central branch of our very first lending library in the United States, right here in Philadelphia, 1731, the Philadelphia Library Company. But next we are approaching our stop 9 for the Barnes Foundation. He is the thinker. The Rodin Museum here in Philadelphia is the second largest public collection of French sculpture.
We're at the Eastern State Penitentiary.
Yeah, I didn't.
Now we're inside the cell blocks.
Press 2.
This was the first city-owned firehouse, and there's Deborah L. Smith smiling with her, I don't know how you
My
pronounce
local
it.
beer.
Local
It's all
beer?
right. It's better in a bottle than
Yeah. This used to
smell.
be a firehouse. And we're right opposite. Out there you'll see the Eastern Penitentiary. A drawing room for a New York City townhouse. We're in the Philadelphia Museum of Art, well known for the rocky steps at the front and for the beautiful Deborah Smith enhancing this video.